wanted to record this little introduction because the video you're about to see I did while I was driving, so the sound quality's a bit poor, and people will complain about it. Also, it's from a roughly this angle. I've got quite a big nose, so you can just see up my nostrils a lot, so sorry about that. And I always close this eye when it's bright light. People pick up on that too. But ultimately, I want to share my experiences getting into sales because it's been a fun one, and I'm just getting started. You know, I'm 3 years into sales and I'm just getting started. I really enjoy it, and this video will show you what it's going to lead to from the experience. So thanks for supporting the channel. I noticed this morning we're at 1,000 subscribers. I didn't realize. For me, that's huge. For the big world of YouTube, it's terribly small, but you know, I'd love for this to grow a little bit at a time so we can help and inspire more people. So thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any ideas for other content that I could possibly bring to you, just share, put it in the comments. I'd love that. Yeah, and consider, if you like what you see, liking the video and subscribing. That would be a really big help for me, because I plan on bringing a little bit more content and some slightly different things, because I need to make this channel about me and my personality. People don't like me, but there are people that would like me. So thanks again, all the best, God bless everyone. The wait is over, I'm back. I'm being sarcastic, of course. I have not paid any attention to this channel for a couple of years, just because I've been doing my own things, some new things, and I wanted to sort of present it because of a conversation I had with an electrician who came round to do some work for me at the weekend, and he knew me from my days as a tradesperson spraying cars. And I told him that I'm now in sales and a little bit about the journey, and he said, oh God, I wish I had the balls to do that, but I'm 41 now and I've got a kid and got commitments and I earn good money. And I said, yeah, look, I understand. I was in a fortunate position a good few years back where I'd come out of a relationship and I was living with my mum for a period of time, and I had that sort of financial freedom where I didn't have a lot of financial commitment, so I could go and try something new. But the way I threw myself into this sales industry is what made the difference for me, because as cheesy or arrogant or however you want to describe it, however it sounds, I didn't want to go and do a sales role and be average at it. I wanted to excel. So I just wanted to share some of that experience on here, just to let people know that, do you know what, like, you might not have any experience in something, but you can learn fast. You can learn probably 90% of something really quickly, and then the last 10% comes slowly. So I remember reading this in a Richard Branson book. He said, if you get given an opportunity that you haven't got the experience for, just say yes and learn fast. So that's what I did. Except I didn't get given the opportunity. I had to go find it. So when I was done with my car spraying in the afternoon, I was going home, putting on a shirt and jacket and going around car dealerships, because for some reason I had this little itch that I needed to scratch, and that was car sales. I really wanted to do it. I love cars, wanted to be around it, wanted to learn sales. I thought that learning this new skill would really help me, because I didn't quite know. I knew it was a dynamic industry. You're dealing with people at the end of the day, and I had this fairly ignorant view of sales people inside of, say, car dealerships. So you know what it's like. You walk in a car dealership, you're just having a look around, someone swarms on you, pounces on you, can I help you? And you go, no, I'm just looking, thanks. And then they're sort of hanging around like a bad smell. That was my view of car sales. Now, how I got into it was, I was going around car dealerships of an afternoon and just presenting myself and saying, you know, I'm Craig, I've run a business for this amount of years, I really want to get into sales, just looking for an opportunity. And I went to all different kinds. I went to main dealers, I went to used car places, and I just couldn't get a break. I couldn't catch a break. I was even looking at adverts. So there was an advert for a BMW garage in Stevenage, and I went there. So I heard you're looking for someone, not got any experience, but I'm very driven, committed, all the rest of it. And it was sort of like, yeah, we'll get back to you, email your CV, etc, etc. I weren't getting where I wanted to be. I weren't knocking the doors open that I wanted to be in. And then just as I'd had enough of this, I thought, it would be easy to get a job. Some of the salespeople I've met in my time of buying cars, you think, bloody hell, I ain't got much about them. Surely I can get a job, but no, it just weren't happening for me. I was coming across, some really scruffy bastards, really, going in and asking them for a job, thinking, I'm presenting myself better than you are. There's people who look like they couldn't be bothered to brush their hair or whatever. So I'm thinking, how and why am I not getting an opportunity right now? So I ended up going into a Porsche dealership in Hatfield, and the sales manager there firmly put me in my place. So I said all of the things, and he said, mate, young man, actually, he said, what are you doing coming into a prestige brand like Porsche? He said, I've got people here earning 6 figures selling cars for me, and it's only because they've got experience doing it. You can't walk into a place like this as a trainee and get an opportunity. It's just not how the industry works. What are you doing? I said, sir, I actually agree with what you've just said there, completely, but I'm just trying to present myself in the most humble way, because if I dropped a CV on your desk or any other person's desk, it just gets lost. The personality doesn't come through. I said, but I would be an asset to your business, because I've achieved things in my own business that I'm very proud of, and I would be an asset to anyone. I'm a very hard-working, committed person, trustworthy, all the rest of it. And he turned his head sideways like a dog does. And he said, you know what? Go get yourself a year of experience. Come back and see me. Come talk to me when you've got some experience, all right? He sort of bought into it, but he was being realistic. So off I went. And I ended up getting an opportunity at a Mazda dealership in Letchworth. And I threw myself at this opportunity. And this is what I was saying a moment ago about I didn't have a real clue about the industry, just that I wanted to do it. So I threw myself into this role. Now, the first things came, I had to do FCA exams. That's the Financial Conduct Authority. And my bosses give me 2 to 3 days to complete the exams, and I'd done them in a morning. I remember going to my manager, and he said, I said, oh, I'm done. He said, oh, what, the first module, did you pass? I said, no, I've passed all of them. And he's like, what? What? That should have taken you longer. I'm like, well, it didn't. I've passed it. Can we crack on with selling some cars now? So he said, you won't really be selling for 2 to 3 months while you learn. Learn all the products that are, your cars are your products. Learn about all the specs. So he gave me a little exam on that, and I aced the exam, and all right then. So I shadowed some people for a couple of days, and I said, look, just let me get stuck in. So the first month of me selling on my own, they gave me a target of 10 cars to sell, and I sold 13, which I was really proud of. I still am proud of that. But I threw myself into this. So I love watching YouTube, and what I was doing was, instead of watching nonsense and wasting my time, I started watching videos on sales. Come across a few people that I could resonate with, and then I started to do a bit better, and I started to really get into this role. But most unfortunately, there was a little bit of a clash of personalities with some of the managers, because what I hadn't learned yet and what I had to adapt to was, I was used to working for myself and not being told what to do. And then suddenly I've got 3 bosses. One of them, Sam, wonderful man. We had another one called Matt. He was a little bit more challenging, just because of his personality. I got on fine with him, but he just weren't my sort of person. And I would have preferred to be communicated with a little bit differently to how Matt used to do it. And then there was this guy called Steve. Now, he's a very old school sales manager, really liked Steve, but Steve was, you know, a man's man, and there was a little bit of a clash because I also would like to consider myself a man's man, and Steve was very much used to being the top guy, and then when I've come in, I've sort of ruffled some feathers in that Steve could sort of take the mick out of people and get away with it, but with me, I'd sort of come back to him with a bit of a sharp tongue and a bit of wit, bit of sarcasm, and I mean, for the most part we had a good laugh, but there were times where Steve could get the better of me, push some of my buttons, and you know, I'm quite a sensitive, reactive person sometimes, and I had to have a chat with Steve, and it was a couple of weeks before I ended up leaving, but I said, you know, you've picked up on a few small things that have not gone perfectly, and you sort of tried ridiculing me in front of my colleagues, and I don't really appreciate it, but if you want to get the best out of me, why don't we concentrate on my good qualities in this role, and you'll really get the best out of me, and I hope to be the best salesperson in the showroom in the not too distant future. But you know, it was all right for a couple of weeks, and then he started pushing my buttons at 5 to 6 on a Friday evening. He got Matt to come down and get me to do some tasks when I was 5 minutes away from going home on a Friday evening, and I just took it very personally and had to have a sit down chat with them both and say, do you know what, I've had enough of you two. I swore quite a bit, not my most dignified moment, but I'd kind of had enough of this button pushing. So the following day I handed my notice in, and Steve sat down with me actually, and he said, look Craig, we don't really want to lose you, and you have been the hardest working person here since you started. So I was really happy with that, because I knew I didn't want to stay, but I was happy that I'd been recognised as the hardest working person. I was charging around that showroom and around the site. I rarely walked. I often just ran places and I just got things done. Ultimately, I really enjoyed the role because, you know, there's a lot of different personalities there. I had a great time. It was one of the best times of my life working there. And it was just because I threw myself into the role. But ultimately, it led me back to, I still had my business running on the side, so I went back to that, and then I had wound the business down with the intention of leaving the business to take on sales full time, but thankfully I kept it afloat, and then I had a injury shortly after I left the car dealership, and I had to have surgery, so I was out of action for 5 or 6 months. So I was eating through a lot of savings, so I decided that I was going to throw myself back into my business, build that back up, which I did, but ultimately I was still back to, I want to work in sales, and as luck would have it, I did a job for a customer of mine who I've known for years, since I was 19 odd years old, and I said, you know, what are you doing, Stu? What are you doing at the minute? And he said, I work in direct selling now, and I do X, Y, and Z, and I really enjoy it. And I said, you know, I'd love to do something like that. So, cut a long story short, he got me an opportunity. We elaborated on the truth a little bit, and he got me an opportunity in this company where I started working for them, and I started, you know, I'd done all right, but the sort of culture there was challenging because it was very much, they were trying to get us to put pressure on customers unnecessarily, and that meant we was having pressure put on us. Fine, it's the way the world works, but they weren't paying us properly. So the guy who got me the job, he ended up leaving and going to like a rival company, and he said to me after about a month, he said, Craig, when there's an opportunity at this new company, you've got to come over, because they actually treat us with respect here and they pay us every single week. Now, I was owed almost £10,000 from the company I was working for in commission, unpaid commission, and I never knew when that money was going to come, and I was struggling to pay my bills at this point because the business that I had, I'd sort of wound that back down a bit, and I was really struggling along, you know, because I had this sort of lifestyle I'd been used to living, where I'd always got money coming in, and because I had less money coming in, I was struggling to pay my bigger bills some months because I just wasn't getting paid from this new role. So I ended up saying to them, I actually lied to them, because this company were notorious that if they knew you were leaving, they weren't going to pay you what they owed you, and people had to take them to court to get their money, and it was a long drawn out affair. So I lied to my manager. I said, look, I've got to have surgery and I'm going to be out of action for 3 to 6 months, but I want to come back. Can you keep me my job? And he said, yeah, you know, yeah, of course. And then in the meantime, I was, I'd gone over to the new company. I know this is deceitful, I don't like to do this, but they owed me money. Went over to the new company, and this whole time I'm sort of still speaking to my old manager, saying, oh, you know, he's going, how are you doing? How's recovery? I was going, oh, not too good. And can you get me a little bit of money paid, please? And he'd done what he could to get me my money that I was owed. Good on him. Darren, his name is. I like Darren, and I've never told him the truth because I lied to him, and I feel bad about that because it was a really big lie, and I don't like all that. I'm a very honest guy, but I just wanted my money, you know. It's just people shouldn't mess with other people's money, and that's what this company had done. It wasn't Darren's fault, but you know, God bless Darren, he's a good man, and he did help me out, you know. He stuck his neck out for me and he helped me out, and I sincerely appreciate him for doing that. But I did lie to him, so if he ever comes across this video, sorry Darren, weren't my greatest and finest hour, but I did it, and I did it for my own good. So I went to the new company, and again, I'm learning. Every time I do a lot of mileage doing work for this company, so I'm listening to audio books, and of an evening or in the morning I'm watching training videos on YouTube. Like, I threw myself into it. I didn't know anything about it, and let me tell you, I had a lot to learn in the car sales business. But with car dealerships, what you find is people know the car they want, they found it online, they know what price it is, they know what colour they want, they know what spec they want, they walk in the showroom, they want a test drive. It's all, for me, I found it pretty easy. Now, I wasn't the best, and I could have got better, I could have got a lot better, but that was one way of selling. This other way of selling was completely different. It's direct sales. You're in people's houses and you're up against it because they don't know any costs and what's involved with things, and you go through like a presentation, and I just made sure I honed all of my skills. When I got good feedback from customers, I concentrated on the feedback and I tried to make that bit better, and I tweaked what I was doing, and I was doing things differently to pretty much all of my colleagues. I was speaking to my friend who happened to be the #1 salesperson in the business, so he was giving me tips and advice, and for a period of time I was paying him money every month to advise me and get me, sort of guide me and get me further up the ladder, and he really, really helped me. But I still work for this business, you know, but this is just testament to, I had no experience in this, and I've risen up to, I'm up the higher end of the company now. I did last year, according to one of our surveyors in the company, I did get up to the top 3 in the company, and I since slipped down a little bit this year, so I'm in the top 10. But I'm proud of that because I've worked so hard at it. But this year's been a difficult year for the industry, so it isn't just me who was struggling along. But thankfully, it's sort of picked back up. But I just want to get through to people that just because you've got no experience in something doesn't mean you can't throw yourself at it and learn from it. Like, the great thing is we've got these mobile phones, we've got the internet. It's a great thing. It's also a curse as well, you know. I lost my phone for a period of time last month, and I was it was like I lost an arm, you know. So they're good, because we can learn all this sales stuff I wanted to learn. It's all at your fingertips. So whatever industry you want to get in, someone's already done it, someone's already successful at it. Just go listen to the people that you think, oh, I like the sound of this guy or this lady or whatever it might be. But yeah, just find your groove with it. And I found my groove and I really enjoy it. Now, this ain't the end for me. Ultimately, I like starting businesses. So I've started another business that I've been working on for almost a year, and we're just launching now. And I will bring that to the channel soon. It's an unusual business. It's a very niche business, but it's a business that it's so niche in the UK that I want to be a front runner for it. There are people already doing this business, but on a small scale, and my intention is to do it nationwide on a larger scale, and bring a professionalism to it that not all of the people involved in the industry are bringing. So I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing with the new business without this sales experience that I'm gaining now. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to do sales, because it was just going to strengthen my skill set. Now, I'm a massive, huge believer that if you want to earn more, you need to learn more. And it's not always about earning more money. In the past, I've been very fortunate that I've been able to earn sums of money that I never thought I'd be able to earn. I thought that once upon a time, if I could earn £50,000 a year, I'd be set for life. But you quickly identify that you need to earn even more money than that if you want to live a lifestyle you want to live. So I'm just trying to design a life for myself, and I'm no more special than the average person. Like, I'm just an average guy from a council estate who didn't have a dad and all of that stuff. Like, it's entirely possible to do more, achieve more, even when you've not had good things around you, like to inspire you, or mentor you. I've had to read a lot of books and watch a lot of videos and stuff like that, but I just want to hit home how important it is to take some risks sometimes in life to get you where you want to be. And my next big risk will be when the new business is at a point where it needs me full time, I'm going to have to give up a very good job. Now, this job I'm in now, I earn way into the six figures, which, considering it's just me, I don't have to have staff, I don't have to have vehicles, I don't have to stock anything. It's just me and my voice, effectively, is what brings me my money now. And I'm going to have to leave that probably in about a year to 18 months time. And that's going to be another leap of faith. So I can't stress enough how valuable it is for you to be a practical risk taker. I don't believe in stupid risks. Be a practical risk taker, because if you read any stories about anyone who's been successful, they've had to take practical risks. It's rare that people find success easily. Now, I know in this world we've got influencers and all of these people sort of dominating things and earning fabulous sums of money, and it could be based purely and simply on how they look. They were born beautiful. They look good in certain clothes, and they're influencing other people, and they're making fabulous sums. I wasn't blessed with that, and to be honest, it's not fulfilling for me, and I don't feel like some of these influencers are going to be doing it forever, because looks fade. I want to try and build a bit more of a foundation for myself. So I look past all of that stuff. I would love very much for a YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, to be a success one day down the line, a little success in its own right. I know we've already inspired some people, because when I had the business consultancy website going, which I mentioned in some of my previous videos, quite a few people contacted me. I worked with them, I helped them set up businesses, I helped them with their current businesses, and I'm very proud of what I've been able to do for people through this channel already. So yeah, it'd be lovely if I could make this a success, but it will only be a success if I'm a success. and through the experiences that I can share. So in conclusion, take some risks. It don't matter how old you are. Like, I'm 41, and I'm going to be working for another 25, 30 years of my life easily and happily. I had the good fortune of meeting a fabulous man who mentored me for a few years of my life, called John. Unfortunately, John died last year, which was a sad time. But he taught me a lot of things. When John retired, he started his first business, and he retired in his 70s. And he inspired me. You know, John never retired. He took mini retirements throughout his life, and it reminds me of the book, The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, I believe. I read that book, and it inspired me back then. And then I met this John guy, and he inspired me even further to actually live like that. Or in fact, I met John before, and then I read the book, and then that just, so I want to have a life where I could go take a month off or 3 months off, and I can go, you know, tour the world or look at little parts of the world. I don't want to build up to some big retirement. I want to have little mini retirements. I love working, and there'll be people out there who do want to retire. Well, it just means take some risks now. My projection in the next sort of 10 years is the business that I'm starting now, I want that to be my retirement fund, my retirement pot. So if I wanted to retire, I could, but ultimately I don't want to retire, but I want to have options. So when this business sells, I could, you know, purchase a few things, that maybe a business or two that would just give me some income and give me something to do, but give me options. Ultimately, if you've got money, you've got options, and I need more money than I currently earn to have more options than I currently have. So I'm going to end the video there. Thanks again for supporting the channel, for subscribing and for watching this. If you've got to the end of this, all credit to you, because I am pretty boring, but thank you so much, and I hope to bring some more content very shortly to the channel. So yeah, have a good day. God bless.